Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. Happy Monday to you all. Hopefully, you're having a beautiful and wonderful Monday. And I wanted to get on here very quickly and discuss Don Lemon's charges as it relates to the Minnesota church riot, protest, attack, whatever you want to use, whatever term you want to use. So I want to look at this, and Nick Brooks recently did a review of the charges as well. So real quick, in case you're not familiar with the charges, just the general what happened, I want to go over those real quick, and then we're going to bring in Nick Brooks' video that he did a great job of explaining it. But I think I think this article might give you a little bit of context, just in case you're not familiar with it. So you all know, of course, Don Lemon. What about the charges against Don Lemon tied to the Minnesota church? I'm going to call it attack because I'm just going to do like they were doing, all right? So we got the former CNN anchor Don Lemon was indicted on Friday on federal civil rights charges related to his coverage of a protest inside a church in Minnesota earlier this month amid President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. All right. I think it's very interesting that they're trying to continue to say that Don Lemon was just there as an anchor, or there's a journalist rather. I don't think that that's fair because I think we all know he wasn't there as a journalist. Let's just tell the truth. Protesters interrupted a service at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota on the 18th of January to demonstrate against one of the pastors who reportedly served as an immigration and customs enforcement officer. Okay. All right. So like, what if your pastor is like the chaplain for ICE or chaplain for your local police force or chaplain in the army? Can you protest him? Like, to me, I think this is definitely my issue with this is that I hate to use a slippery slope argument, but it's a slippery slope that I think people don't realize. Like, if you invite this, if you allow this, then you do realize the other things that you're going to accept. Lemon, I have no idea why this won't go away. Get rid of this thing right here. I don't want this on my screen. Lemon has maintained that while he was present at the protest, he was acting as a journalist. He was arrested late Thursday by federal authorities in Los Angeles. Several others, including independent journalist Georgia Fort, were also indicted in connection with the church protests. So I just wonder, like, can other people just claim, journalistic rights? I wonder, can we just say that? Like, oh, I was at this riot and I got arrested, but I was just a journalist because I have my cell phone and I was live streaming it, or I was capturing it to put up later on my channel. Like, I think that's definitely, what is it? How do you know that somebody's a journalist and a protester? At what point do they make the jump from one to the other, or do they degrade from one to the other? The news comes as the Department of Homeland Security, DHS operations in North Star State, are under scrutiny after immigration enforcement officials shot and killed two Minnesota residents, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, in separate incidents. Here is what we know about the charges. Lemon is facing a grand jury, indicted Lemon and 8 others, defendants on 2 charges under the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances FACE Act, which includes protections for people in places of worship. All right, I think that's like a slam dunk, in my opinion. In 1994, the law bars force or force of threat that impedes a person's ability to exercise their right to religious freedom inside a place of worship and prohibits damage to the spaces. I don't understand what we're having. It seems like it's almost guaranteed. What are we talking about? The Justice Department, DOJ, in this indictment said one church member suffered bodily injury during the protest. Now, actually, I have to admit, this is my first time hearing that. I did not know somebody experienced bodily injury because of the protest. I don't know. I got to hear about that one. I didn't even see that in the end. I don't even think I saw that in the charging documents, in the indictment. I got to find that one. So if somebody runs across that, let me know who got injured. I'm not making fun or light of it, but who got injured for real? The FACE Act was originally proposed in Congress to protect people seeking reproductive health services, and it was typically been used to in prosecuting protesters who block entrances to medical clinics providing abortions. During the bill consideration, the amendment was added to the protection of religious freedoms as well. Okay, all right, let's go under the law. To me, I think that I don't actually like that law, if I could be 100% honest with you. But let us continue. I have no idea why they got so many ads on here. Under the law's penalties, first-time violators could face fines and up to a year in jail. People found to have violated the act more than once could face more severe penalties. And Don Lemon, of course, I think this is probably the first time he's ever really been tagged with that. So I don't think that we need to worry about multiple offenses, but I do think that there needs to be a clear warning. But let's go. What are the charges? Lemon and the other defendants were indicted in charges in conspiracy against rights of religious freedom at a place and are charged of acting to injure, intimidate, and interfere with exercise of right of religious freedom in the place of worship. The complaint also states that Lemon was involved in planning the protests. I don't know if there's a lie detected. I don't see a lie detected there. And he withheld details of these plans in his reporting leading up to the demonstration. The DOJ included quotations from former CNN hosts live streaming the event, including him labeling congregants' experience to the protests as traumatic and uncomfortable. Lemon and several others are also accused of standing so close to the church's pastor in an attempt to oppress and intimidate him and physically obstruct his freedom of movement, according to the documents. After leaving the church, prosecutors said Lemon confronted some congregants and physically obstructed them from departing. So what comes next? Lemon was released from custody on Friday after being detained and covered the Grammys, blah, blah, blah. Following the court appearance in California, the journalist told reporters he will not be silenced. I have spent my entire life covering the news. I will not stop now, he said. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Don Lemon, you are so pompous. Shut your pompous self up, man. You're not doing anything noble, my dude. You're not. The White House has stood behind the charges, posting a picture of Lemon at the protest with the caption, "When life gives you lemons," and the chain emoji in the post in the social media platform X. Following the detainment, his lawyer, Abel Lowell, said Lemon will challenge the charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. Of course, because you're getting paid mad bucks to do this. I guarantee you, if Abe Lowell wasn't getting paid to do this, he'd be like, look, Don Lemon is seeking a plea deal, but you're getting paid for it. So of course, I'm sorry. I think the biggest winners of this whole thing are the lawyers. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine a light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. Reaction. Lemon has received support from prominent Democrats. Shocking. Call me just completely amazed by that, including former Vice President Kamala Harris and House Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Surprise. Oh my gosh. Harris, who lost in 2024, thankfully, president election to Trump, blasted Trump's administration in the wake of this arrest. Today, Donald Trump and his administration are once again trampling on our rights and our freedoms. Harris wrote in her statement on X, journalists, I'm wondering why she's not writing on Blue Sky. Never mind. Sorry. Journalists Don Lemon and Georgia Fort were fulfilling their duty as to the American people to report and inform, and they have been arrested for it. She added, Donald Trump continues to consolidate power and show a flagrant disregard for the rule of law. This arrest is another affront to our rights and freedoms and should alarm and enrage us all. Jeffries echoed her concerns, of course he did, adding that Lemon's urgent work is protected by the First Amendment, and there was zero basis to arrest him. Oh my gosh, I didn't even get this far. Representative Jasmine Crockett condemned the arrest, tying it to Good and Petrie's deaths. She wrote online, exercising your First Amendment constitutional protected rights gets you locked up. Exercising your second gets you deleted. And actual murder, well informed, well in uniform, gets you nothing. What? This is not normal nor okay, the lawmaker added. Jasmine Crockett, shut up. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's just to bring you up to speed. So let's go ahead and tap in our good friend of the channel, Mr. Nick Brooks. He did a breakdown of this, and I thought it was really informative. And wherever it lands with the case, I do think that this will be very helpful for everybody. So let's bring Nick in. Nick, how you doing, brother? Grace and peace to you, man. Good to see you, man. Nick, what you got, brother? Tell us what you got today.
I'm Nick Brooks, a California attorney.
I know that.
And today we're breaking down why the federal government hit Don Lemon with conspiracy to violate civil rights and a federal charge for interfering with a church service. I possess a copy of the actual indictment and have analyzed it, and we'll see whether these charges match what it really alleges or turn a trespass-level protest into a civil rights showpiece. Prosecutors say Don Lemon joined an anti-ICE action called Operation Pull-Up, went into City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota during Sunday worship with 20 to 40 others and helped turn the service into what they call a takeover-style attack that ended the service and frightened families. Count 1 is called Conspiracy Against Rights, a federal civil rights law. Prosecutors must prove Lemon agreed with others to target the pastor and congregants and took steps to intimidate them out of exercising their right to worship. Count 2 is a federal law protecting access to churches and clinics. There, the prosecutors must show that Lemon and others used force, threats, or physically blocking people's movement to intentionally interfere with the service, and that the government can prove at least one congregant suffered bodily injury, as the indictment alleges. Minnesota could also bring its own trespass or worship interference case based on the same conduct. State and federal governments are separate sovereigns, but so far it's only the federal government that has chosen to prosecute him. The indictment puts Lemon at a pre-operation briefing in a Cubs food parking lot, thanking organizer Nakima Levy Armstrong, live streaming about a resistance operation against immigration policy, reminding people not to reveal the target, stepping off mic to keep details off air, and then heading to the church with the group. During the sermon, Armstrong alleged...
I just got to stop for a second. That actually happened. I'm really wondering how they're going to try to phase that and try to reimagine that to cause us to believe that we didn't see that. We watched that. We watched Don Lemon because it was snowing. We watched Don Lemon out there. And I'd even joked about it being in a Cub Foods parking lot. Like, I don't understand how they're going to try to figure this, weasel their way out of this. And if they do, what is going to be the effect on churches moving forward? If they let these people off, with nothing but a hand slap, no real consequences, what happens next? What will be the next event that happens? And how far until they say, well, this action that I did was just a protest? Yeah, I came in there and hit somebody in the head with a baseball bat, but I was just protesting. Like, at what point do they, I don't know. To me, I think this is a very serious situation, not just because I'm a churchman, not just because I believe that church is important, but because I see this as being very problematic in the long goal. So if Don Lemon and those clowns don't get jail time and some serious major consequences, I'm not going to be surprised what happens next. And the bad thing is when a church defends itself or when a church exercises its right as an entity to defend and protect itself, then it's going to be a problem on the church, not on the people that are protesting. And they're not going to look back and say, oh yeah, back in 2026, we did let Don Lemon get away with this. I hate that because I think that's where we're going to end up going.
Allegedly stands up, accuses the church of harboring an ICE director, and whistles and chants erupt. Protesters fill aisles and front rows. The pastor then tells them to leave, but the indictment says Lemon and others stay, block movement, and help shut down the service. As the protest plays out, Lemon tells his audience he sees a young congregant who is frightened, scared, and crying, and describes the atmosphere as traumatic and uncomfortable. He also remarks that police haven't arrived yet and that the operation is disrupting the service in real time. For conspiracy against rights, the government needs an agreement between 2 or more people to injure, threaten, or intimidate church members in their exercise of religion, plus overt acts. Courts treat it as a specific intent crime. Interfering with that right must be a conscious goal, not just a side effect. DOJ will point to the flyers, Operation Pull Up branding, the briefing, the two-wave entry plan, Lemon's secrecy on the live stream, and Lemon's comment that the whole point is to disrupt, as proof he joined a plan to shut down the worship itself, not just to film a loud protest about ICE. In the DOJ story, worship being stopped isn't collateral damage, it's part of Lemon's objective. For the worship interference count, the government must show that by force, threat of force, or physical obstruction, the defendants intentionally injured, intimidated, or interfered with people exercising religious freedom at that church, or tried to, and that one congregant was injured, as alleged in the indictment. Again, intent to interfere with worship matters. According to the indictment, Lemon and others filled the main aisle and front rows, contributed to a menacing atmosphere, surrounded the pastor and obstructed his movement, ignored his order to leave, blocked stairs to the child care area, and later stationed himself at the main door, physically obstructing people exiting while challenging them about immigration policy. Lemon will argue that much of this is news gathering, such as being at a newsworthy protest, live streaming in real time, delaying the target reveal, and asking the pastor questions.
I do wonder what would have happened if somebody there, because I'm just really surprised that everybody's looking over the fact that they blocked access to the children's area. Like, that's crazy work. You drop your kids off at Sunday school, you drop your kids off at Miss Bumblebee's Sunday school class, and you're not able to go back and get them when there's rioters and chaos and whistle blowing and chanting going on, and you just want to go get your little Tommy or little Sally. And I just wonder what would have happened if hands had gotten thrown. I mean, thankfully they didn't, but what would have happened? And I wonder who would have been at fault if they had done that and one of those protesters met a serious demise, got very injured. Like, this is crazy work. And the fact that people are just kind of keying this away, I'm sorry, man, this is crazy work. And I hate to say it. If they don't do something about this, it will happen again. And it's not going to be the same result. It's not going to be the same result. I can guarantee you it's going to go real left real quick. And now they're going to be like, well, how did we get here? Now we're deleting journalists and deleting protesters, executing protesters. I hate it because this is very bad. Okay, let's finish up.
Lemon's key point is that his specific intent was to cover and amplify a protest about federal policy, not to deprive anyone of the right to worship. That intent element is not nothing, it's something, even with his own quotes, proving beyond a reasonable doubt that Lemon's purpose was to attack worship rather than protest ICE in a reckless way is the government's most difficult job. The "but I'm a journalist" defense only goes so far. The same indictment has Lemon thanking the organizer, agreeing to meet her at the action, helping keep plans quiet, saying the trauma and disruption are the purpose, and staying after the pastor tells him to leave, and blocking a main exit. A jury could see that as evidence he wanted the service shut down, not merely documented. However, notice what's missing from the charging decision. No simple trespass case. Minnesota already criminalizes interfering with religious observance and physically obstructing access to a religious establishment. Refusing to leave when the pastor revokes consent, blocking aisles and stairs, and disrupting a service are textbook state-level worship interference or trespass behavior. That's where proportionality bites. Even if you think Lemon behaved badly and leaned too hard on the "I'm a journalist" defense, the normal response is state court. Trespass, disturbing worship, maybe a short local sentence or fine. Instead, DOJ reached for a Reconstruction-era conspiracy statute and a federal worship interference law with felony-level exposure and higher intent requirements. So one has to ask.
I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I don't like the fact that we have so many laws that kind of overlap one another and they're clearly being used by one people group against another people group. To me, I think that is problematic. I'm sorry. Even the FACE Act, I don't know about that one. And the KKK Act, again, I think we have a lot of laws that are just kind of overlaps and they're just adding new context to them when we already had trespassing. You could have already hit them with that. I don't think you needed, and you could have put, I think there's other laws that are already in place that you didn't need to make new ones. And I bring that up because I think the general trespassing would have been sufficient to hit them with. All these extras that are there now. Granted, I want them to get hit with them, but because they're there, I do think that they're going to be misused. I hate to say it like that. I think they're going to be misused because, or you know what, misunderstood. Maybe that's a better word, misunderstood. Because we have Don Lemon. They're gonna fall back on the most basic base defense. Don Lemon is a black alphabet mafia, quote unquote, man, and the church is a white evangelical church. So therefore, hitting him with the KKK Act is wrong because you can't hit a black man with the KKK Act. That's what they're going to do. Or the FACE Act. Again, same thing. Don Lemon professes that he's a Christian, which he's not. And the church, they're going to say the church isn't Christian because the pastor holds to this idea of works in this role at ICE. So therefore, the church can't be a church. So therefore, Don Lemon's quote unquote Christianity supersedes. I could hear them making that argument. I know that's crazy work, but I can hear them making that argument. And so that's why I'm wondering about some of these laws. We've put them in place at a time, and we put them in, there was a time and space when they made sense, but now I feel like they're being used in the wrong way. I don't see why the KKK Act is not the same as the FACE Act, in my opinion. I don't know. I have no idea. And I think the FACE Act is misused a lot of time anyway. But yeah, so I'm gonna let Nick finish this up, but let's go.
Are we punishing the physical conduct or the message and who is speaking? If this same blocking and refusal to leave would usually be handled as trespass, at least some people will see upgrading it to conspiracy against civil rights because it's an anti-ICE protest with a famous journalist narrating as serious overcharging with First Amendment implications. A fair middle ground is that Lemon likely pushed beyond neutral coverage. Joining a pre-planned action, ignoring the pastor's order to leave, and blocking exits are not harmless, and a jury could find he intended to help the protest succeed. But that still doesn't automatically make him the kind of actor these federal civil rights laws were written for, especially when his core purpose can plausibly be framed as protest and journalism rather than religious persecution. Legally, expect aggressive motions arguing these statutes cannot be stretched to criminalize this mix of protest, speech, and relatively low-level obstruction without chilling legitimate reporting. DOJ will say this wasn't just speech, that the fear, blocked child care access, and surrounding the pastor showed targeted interference with worship, and that Lemon's own statements prove he intended that outcome, clearing the specific intent hurdle. Whatever you think of Don Lemon, the precedent matters for reporters who embed with protesters. If coordination, secrecy, and being close to a disruptive action can be treated as evidence of a civil rights conspiracy, journalists may be hesitant to get close. At the same time, this case warns that if you actually join the operation, such as physically obstructing people while pushing your message, I'm a journalist won't automatically shield you when your own words sound like you wanted the disruption. Reading the indictment, there's enough here that a state prosecutor could comfortably bring trespass and interference with worship charges. But using federal conspiracy and worship interference laws designed for serious campaigns against civil rights on this protest plus trespass fact pattern looks like a charging decision that overshoots the underlying misconduct and risks chilling legitimate, if imperfect, journalism, especially when those laws require specific intent to attack the right to worship, not just to stage a provocative protest. If you found this video helpful, please hit like so more people see it. Before you go, tell me in the comments, is Don Lemon a journalist who went too far and deserves only trespass-type charges, or do these facts in his own words justify full-blown federal civil rights counts? If someone you know follows Don Lemon or covers protests, send this video to them so they can see where the legal line really is. And if you want more breakdowns like this from a California attorney, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next episode. Thank you very much.
Shout out to Nick Brooks. All right. So I left the link down in the description for this, as well as the article from The Hill. And I'd love to hear what y'all think about it. Somebody said this, and I really think this is where I'm landing. There was a great comment in here. I pulled it up on the screen a moment ago. There we go. First rule of journalism: don't insert yourselves into the news story. That's exactly what Don did. Now, I'm not saying he needs to go to jail because he inserted himself into the story, but I think he was a part of the story. He wasn't there just as a journalist. He wasn't there just to observe. He was there as he was creating the story and being a part of the story, the planning even. So I do wonder if I know somebody said he probably would have got off. Somebody said he probably would have got off on, there you go. He probably get off on the basic trespass. I understand. My problem is I'm a little worried about those. I feel like the charges might be too much and trespass might be too little, if that makes sense. But my problem, even more than that, is something must be done because otherwise somebody else is going to do this tomorrow or next Sunday or the following Sunday or something. It's going to become another event where, and then somebody's going to just claim that they're a journalist. Like, what's the standard for being a journalist? I have my camera. I'm talking to my live stream. I'm hitting somebody in the head at the church picnic. Oh, Jason's no. I'm just a journalist. I'm just here journalize. I'm just here to shine the truth, hold people accountable. Like, at what point? I'm trying to be stupid and crazy, but y'all know I'm not crazy. Like, at what point do they actually say, yeah, you might be going too far? I wonder, because I really don't see there being a reason to not go further if Don Lemon gets away. Maybe that's the way I'm going to say it. If they don't hold them accountable, what would stop somebody from doing more next time? Really blocking the doors, chaining the doors. Like, what would stop them? You didn't hold them accountable when it was something as minuscule as just coming up in the church chanting and blowing whistles. So now they're doing this. And again, I don't want anybody to do that, but what would stop them? All right, good people. Thank y'all so much. Again, this was just a very quick, yes, I'm a journalist. Sorry, but about your church. Right. That doesn't make sense. And at what point does the rights of the protesters, allegedly, the rights of the journalists, allegedly, supersede the rights of the people at church to worship? Like, we need to have a right. Go back to civics. Like, you have all these rights as a human, all these rights as an American, right? But your rights can't bump against my rights. It's really that simple. You have the right to say whatever you want to say in your house. You put your mic on mute and you just say what you want to say. You get it off your chest. There you go. And now, guess what? I didn't violate anybody's rights. Like, it really is that simple. And I'm not trying to make it too juvenile, but my goodness, in the morning, like, at what point are we going to go back and say, hey, you do have rights, but they cannot run afoul of somebody else's rights? That's really it. And again, you don't have the right just to say whatever and not get consequences for the things that you say or the things that you do. Or just because you claim to be a journalist, which again, I just want to go back and, like, how are we defining journalists? Because, I mean, Candace Owens says she's a journalist. She goes as far as say she's an investigative journalist. What's the standard? I don't know, man, y'all. Yeah, that's a great point. Journalists report, not judge. Lemon was a protester inside the church. He was judging. He was bringing judgment. Condemnation, even. If he goes far. Unhinged YouTubers claiming that they are just trying to share the news. Right. Like, I run up in your church. I mean, IRL streamers do it all the time. Like, oh, I'm just streaming. I'm just here to, we got, what is it? They're auditors where they just like, they go in public places and record to make people uncomfortable. And they're like, oh, well, I got the right to record in public or whatever like that. Like, at what point does that stop? Because you do realize a church is a private property. People just seem to, I heard very few people mention that a church is private property, just like your Kohl's or your Cup Foods or wherever. Like, they're private property. They can say, at AutoZone, we want you trespass. We don't want you to come back here anymore. I can't say, well, it's private property. I should be able to come back in there. If they say they don't want me there, or public property, I got to leave. That's what trespassing is. I'm surprised nobody's even mentioning that. Like, they trespass. Church is private property. And people don't want to, pretend like, oh, I don't know. But no, church is private property. And They have the right to say they don't want you there for what you're doing. And unlike the person I was talking to the other day saying that churches won't welcome people. No, if you're coming in there being disruptive, no, they have the right to tell you to leave. Or not, or you're making people uncomfortable because of what you're doing. You're sitting there clipping your toenails in the pew. Well, they might say, ma'am, sir, you can't do that here. You don't have the right to sit here and whip out your little piggies and start trimming your toenails. That's just silly. Just because you say it's public, but it's not, it's private. Okay. I just want to say that. Thank y'all so much, everybody. I really appreciate you. I will not be doing a Candace stream this evening. Tonight's the last night of the school play. I'm so happy to be done with that thing. And it's late, so I'm not gonna do a Candace stream. So we will. I'm pretty sure y'all are all heartbroken. I see y'all all in the chat, just like weeping and wailing. I know. Hold yourselves together. Pull yourselves together. I don't know why I thought about that. But I was like, that would be so out of pocket for somebody to do that. That would be so out of pocket for somebody to just whip out their little piggies and start clipping their toenails in the church. Like, that would be crazy work. And it'd be nasty. Like, that's terrible. I know. I see it. I see y'all. I see you. But I bet you don't do it though, do you? You don't do that, right? You don't clip your little toenails up at the church. You don't clip them at work. Pull up, hey Bob, I know you want that TPS report, but let me finish clipping my toenails. No. No. So tonight I'm gonna skip Candace tonight. I'm gonna skip it tonight. I got a bad feeling I'm not gonna skip much. I got a feeling it's not gonna be worth anything. We'll be back on tomorrow, Tuesday, Lord willing. We'll do it again. I know we like talking about it, and that's fine. Today I'm just gonna go hang out with Chief Executive Second Born at the school play. I don't want to worry about that. I actually haven't seen any comments about it. I'm sure you've seen Candy's posts about Erica. Nah. I don't. You know what? I'm gonna let you know what today's gonna be a candy free day. Oh, by the way, y'all, thank you so much to everybody who tapped in to Saturday's show where we were just doing body cam. Thank y'all very much. That video did very well. Lots of engagement. Lots of people were watching. I love it. I have a body cam video that I am pretty sure I found one today that blew my mind. I have a video, a sovereign citizen video that I'm pretty sure you could get blackout bingo with this one video. This video is so crazy. It's crazy. I'm almost, you know what? We will definitely, if I come home early tonight, we might play tonight. Y'all, that video is so crazy. He literally, it's almost like he was reading my bingo board and just using every term in there. Every last term I had on my bingo card, he was saying. It was crazy. So anyway, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, we in celebration of having a great show on Saturday Night Live, we're gonna do that one. Maybe we'll do that one tomorrow. But I promise you, you are not prepared for how many bingos you're gonna probably get. It's gonna probably be the blackout bingo game. Literally one video. I wish I was joking. One video is going to be like, wow, I didn't know I could get this many bingos. I thought Jason was cheating. I'm telling you, this thing is crazy work. Anyway, so I want to say thank y'all for that. Really do appreciate everybody tapping in. I know we like talking about Candy and dunking on Candace, but you know, I do hear you all. I do get the text messages and the emails and the such and DMs. Like, you know, we're gonna move on. We're not gonna stay on Candace all the time, because I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's like a dead squirrel on the side of the road. It's only interesting for a while. It's only flipping or flopping around for a while, and now it's just whatever. It's just not worth it. So we will be pivoting a little bit. We'll be introducing more concepts and such like that. Not everything will be around Candace. So I'm just gonna let you know that ahead of time. But I do want to say thank you so much. Thank y'all so much for letting me know y'all like the body cam bingo. I will let you know, since this is the beginning of the month, I have a lot of guests that are coming on. I'm planning. Matter of fact, that's how we're going to get off of some of this candy train. I got a lot of guests who are going to be coming onto the channel and such like that. So hopefully you all will find some encouragement with them. I have some mental health experts, a couple pastors want to come through, an author. We got a lot. We got and some of your favorite content creators. There's some content creators. As soon as we have them locked down, I'll let you know ahead of time. But we're going to have a lot. This is going to be a great month. So Lord willing, we have a great month of February. Thank you for an amazing month of January. Start the year off strong, and that we're just going to keep going. We're going from strength to strength, right? So thank you so much. Brand new subscriber, Rebecca, thank you so much. New subscriber here. Well, glad to have you. Welcome. Candy detox is nice. we're gonna be detoxing from candy. All right. Your dentist will appreciate me. He's like, hey, thank you, Jason, for keeping these people off the candy. So I really want y'all to watch this bike. This thing is so crazy. Okay, now you know what? I'm gonna let that be the enthusiasm. There we go. I'm gonna let that be the enthusiasm. If I can get home from the play tonight, I don't want to do it at like 10:30 at night because I think the play is done at like 9. If I can, otherwise we might do it tomorrow during the day and then like build. Maybe we'll do. That's what we'll do. We'll do it tomorrow during the day. Let me double check. I think I got to pick up Chief Executive second born. I got to pick her up because she ain't got no car. I got to pick her up from school. Darn rabbits. All right, I got to pick up my big girl. All right, so we'll probably do it at like 4:00. But I promise you, y'all will love it because I'm telling you, you've never got this many bingos back to back to back. I'm telling you, that thing is. I was like, this is crazy. I thought it was a skit. Like the video is so bad, I thought it was a skit. That's how bad it is. But y'all will love it though. Anyway. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. You all have a great Monday. Get out there, do something wonderful, all that kind of good jazz. And I will, again, I'm not doing Candace today. I do have a Candace video dropping, but I'm not gonna be doing Candace today. I'm not gonna be doing her live stream. And again, please email management if you're heartbroken about it or whatnot. Buy a hoodie if you're not heartbroken about it. I appreciate y'all. Everybody have a fantastic rest of the day. I'll see you real soon. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.